Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to our channel. We have Raylene Nuanis here, who is going to channel my lovely son, Eric, in the afterlife. I love you, Eric, and I love you, Raylene.
Good morning, Elisa. Eric says he loves you very much. Hello. He says, hello, mama. Hello, beautiful people. He
Hmm.
he's adding to your comment of beautiful people. He's like, beautiful people, beautiful role, beautiful day.
It is beautiful here.
And I love you very much, Elisa.
Oh, I love you too. All right, so we have a list of questions from somebody with an obviously brilliant mind, Darlene W. I didn't ask permission to divulge her entire name, but it's she's been adding on to the list with even better questions as time goes on. So let's start with the first one. It's really not her question, but a lot of this is about karma. Can you explain what karma is, Eric?
He says, yes, mom. He says, karma is an exchange. He says, it's a give and it's a take. It's an exchange of energy. He's saying what you put out and what you receive is very connected to the word karma. He's saying that it's not the way that it's labeled in the sense of he's talking about religion. He's going multiple places with this. He's like, boy, this is such a wide range of communication that I can communicate with this simple word and the label of it. But he says, when you think about religion, he says, you think about you have to be good because if you're not good, you're going to have a consequence to pay, right? He says, based off of the religious beliefs. He says, but
Oh,
with a person who's not religious and you think of the word karma, you can't do bad because bad will be done to you. He says it's not exactly that either. He says your energy, the line that you have, your body is a line of energy. And that line has a give and a receive, a lot like a battery. He says what that battery operates on is good energy and also negative energy. It has to have the balance, a lot like yin and yang. He
yeah.
says, and so when there's an imbalance of energy, there's going to be an imbalance in somebody's life. And so when somebody is experiencing things that seem to be setting them back a lot, or when somebody is experiencing things where they're just moving forward, there's a even balance of karma energy within the individual. And he says that is built up over time with what you put out in life and what you receive in life. He says I like that technique, the analogy. He says it's a lot like a vehicle when you have to put gas in your vehicle, when you have to fuel it. He's backing up a minute. He says, hold on, we're now in a day where you can charge your vehicle. He says, so if you have to put it in, he says you are needing to fuel it with something. The vehicle is giving you something in return, and you're giving it something in return with your care. He says how you care for that vehicle is key to how the vehicle is going to be maintaining for you, what it's going to give you in return.
Mm, yeah.
A lot the karmic debt that you accumulate over time throughout your life. And he says, newsflash, people, this is not only the current life that you're in, this shit builds up over time,
Mm,
past lives.
yeah. So if somebody murders, or how about somebody is just a horrible father and is very cruel to his kids, you need to have that balance, right? So in another life, they might that group of people in that soul family may choose to have it the other way around. One of the kids is the abusive parent. Is that how it works?
It can be in some cases, yes. He says illness is one of the main things that people will live with in their current life if they're doing something, if they're reliving energy that's following them from a previous lifetime, energy that was not solved in that previous lifetime, it follows you into your new lifetime and can present as a type of illness. This could be somebody who's born with genetic conditions or even diabetes from like a young age.
Mhm.
He's saying something that follows from childhood and is presented very early on in life. Not always will they have an illness that they're dealing with, but it can also be in the form of depression, anxiety, that type of different illness.
So, what is the purpose of karma? And is it all hardship or is there some good karma? Well, let's say, what is the purpose?
The purpose of it is the lesson of what you're going to be receiving. Did you do good or did you do bad? What do you need to fix? The yin and the yang, the balance. He says there is, without every bad situation, you would not be able to tell what a good experience was.
Right.
And
Human
so
experience, polarity. You're right. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
you have to do good and you have to do bad in order to experience the up and the downs. That is the purpose of it. It's all about the lesson.
Yeah.
The good part about karma is very simple, Mom. You do good and good things happen to you. You have a good heart and a good intention, then you're setting yourself up for a positive experience. Over time, that experience will catch up with you, even in those times of having hardships. You continue to move forward, knowing that you're doing right and your intentions are with a good heart, then that goodness is going to come back to you at some time, even if it's not being. He's like lighting up a room. He's like, even if you can't see the big picture right now, it will come to you.
And I guess the basic thing is you have to experience the yin and the yang in order to learn all the facets of love, because you really can't understand all the facets of love unless you experience the various opposites of those facets. Like you have to be betrayed in order to learn more about forgiveness, which is a facet of love. That's one example.
Absolutely. And without having that betrayal of needing to learn that forgiveness, you wouldn't exactly know exactly what that love is. He's so funny. He's pacing back and forth.
Of
And
course.
he's like, I use the word exactly back to back. Ain't I the shit?
All right, so there's no karma police who says, okay, you're going to get bad, you're going to be the abused this time. There's no karma police on this side or the other side, correct? We make those contracts. We get together with members of our soul family and said, okay, look, I betrayed you last time. Let's go ahead and do a little switcheroony. Is that the way
He's saying,
it works?
he goes, ooh, Mom, not the karma police. He says, essentially, you are the karma police.
Yeah.
What you put out and what you receive is that authority within yourself. Because there is no getting around it. You will ultimately come back to that energy. He's going back to people that inflict physical pain on somebody, or people that steal from somebody, people that engage in lower vibrations. They know that it's something that they shouldn't be doing. Well, that then is a different type of energy that you're also going to be feeling. He says if you don't resolve that conflict that you inflicted on somebody else,
Yeah.
you're not aware of the pain that you're inflicting, whether it's emotional, physical. He says, you name it, any type of. And he says, you will have the karmic debt.
Yeah. And I'm sure some of that we feel, see, etc. in our life review, right?
He says, yes, some of it.
Okay. Is
But
there, oh, go ahead.
he says it's different because you feel what you inflicted on somebody else, but that physical experience, he says, because Mom, when your spirit, you don't exactly have that anxiety, that overwhelming sensation. You can feel the shit from what you did, but you're not going to be able to really get that full experience of, oh my God, something is really wrong because I'm not tangible. Because in a way, it's kind of like a cheat sheet because I'm feeling it, but I know that it's not exactly an experience.
Okay. All right. So is there karma in the spirit world?
Yes. He says, the place that you go to when you're healing, he So there's a reason why every spirit needs healing, whether this is from the way that they passed or whether this is from the emotional baggage that they carried with them. It's karmic debt that they're trying to rid.
Can you work on that on the other side? Can you rebalance karma on the other side, or is it only done here on the earthly plane?
You can rebalance it on the other side. It's easiest on earth.
Yeah, that makes sense. Why aren't the evil punished when they die? So I want to say a little bit about that. We, in our soul family, sometimes we pick a relationship villain, a villain who has agreed to sacrifice their own reputation to do something horrible to you so that you get that lesson about a facet of love. And, if you don't understand that, then I think that you should listen to a YouTube called The Little Soul and the Sun, SUN, narration or narrated, because it's a kid's book, but it tells you exactly why these people are not really truly bad. Okay, they're there to help you learn, from an experience. But anyway, you know more than I do, so go ahead.
He's saying, absolutely, Mom. He says it's important to know that a lot of times we're aware of what we're going to do prior to coming in. And oftentimes it's to give you the lesson that you wanted to receive out of life. He says, in that case, this isn't necessarily something that you're going to have to repay. He says that what you're explaining is more of contract,
Oh yeah.
is more was set in stone to be experienced out of consideration for the other individual involved because it's something they wanted to experience,
Okay.
such as loss. Because there's also positive things that you set up in life to experience that are also karmic related and set in contract. He says love, relationships, to experience positive love, good health. You put that in your contract and you put individuals in your path to give you exactly that. He says, so karma is not necessarily bad or negative. It is both good and bad.
Well, it sort of blew my mind, the Hitler interview we did, because it ended up that he was almost Christ-like, and then he did these horrible things in order to help usher in decades of peace for the collective. I still can't get that, but are there people that are really truly evil?
Thing to the
Oh, I think you freeze sometimes. You've been freezing.
Hitler.
Oh, you froze.
Oh no, sorry.
That's okay. Sometimes I don't know if you're just
So
listening.
good. Hang on a moment. Let me check something. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Is that better?
I don't know. Keep on talking. See what we
He
get.
says he's referencing to Hitler and he says, well, Mom, when you talk about the soul version of a person and a human version of the person,
Yeah.
in order for our human brains to understand it, it is evil to inflict pain, to kill somebody.
Yeah.
He says that our human mind is considered evil. When you look at the soul version of everybody, that in itself is considered something entirely different from what the human brain is trying to understand the concept of evil. He says now we're talking about two different things besides karma, good, bad, or evil. He says they're separated. He says every soul is pure love and light. There is no such thing as a evil soul.
Oh,
He's
an
talking,
evil person, but not an evil soul. But
yeah,
are the people who do evil things as humans, are they punished when they die, after they die?
yes. He says they don't have this place where they're going, and he's showing like an hell version, but he's being funny about it. He's like, there is no devil horned person that you're going to go and rot with, but he says that you will have the emotional aspect of healing to deal with.
Yeah.
And feeling of what was inflicted on
Okay.
every
The
individual.
life review component. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
He's
nobody is not a punisher.
you
Judge,
are your
execute. You are judge,
yeah.
jury, and executioner. Okay. If someone is cremated, do they feel the pain or any negative feelings that the body is being burned? Do they have negative emotions about it because they're cremated? Because they're cremated, if the family cremates them against their wishes, is there recourse from the spirits onto the living? So, do spirits care about whether they're cremated or not?
He says some spirits do care about being cremated.
Hmm. So know their wishes before they die.
He's talking about the religion part of every individual, what they believe. And so he says that's based off of each individual's experience, is
Okay.
their wishes, their will. Do they feel that they're going to be able to cross over properly if that happens? Every person is still connected to their physical body, even when they do pass. It's more of a souvenir
Ah,
when
but not forever, right? Don't you disconnect from that attachment after a while? Let go of your humanness?
physically your soul is gone and it no longer needs
Uh-oh.
it,
Okay.
but you can choose to go back and still experience. He says you want to visit your body and see if it's still hanging around in a grave. You can still go back to it and still be attached to it, and instead of a souvenir, it's
Okay.
something that you experienced, and you went on a trip. He's showing a penny machine. You know, when you go, say you go on a hike and there's like a dinosaur plot, and you put a penny in the machine, you turn it up, and it's going to make you a little dinosaur penny as a souvenir.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was an
right.
experience. He says,
Okay.
so now that memory becomes a souvenir,
Okay.
and that memory is a entire life, the body.
Wow. Let me check my internet. No, it's good. Okay. Will we ever be given the power to remember the spirit world while we're alive? Like not have spiritual amnesia?
Yes. He's going back to your cremation question. He says, we don't feel the
Okay.
burning when you're being
Oh, yeah.
cremated.
Yeah. Okay. Good. But do you get pissed? I mean, I thought y'all don't have emotions. It's like trying to grip onto Grease monkey bars to
He says that
have anger or disappointment, etc. Maybe initially you do until you let go of your humanness more. But
he says over time, but he says you have to consider that immediately the body is going through a cremation. It's not years later, it's immediate. And he
yeah,
says, you have to look at it. What if you lost that souvenir and you really wanted to hold on to it for a few years or forever in your mind, and now it's gone? He says, so that type of energy is how you want to look at the understanding of the concept of cremation.
okay,
Do your relatives want you to do with their
yeah,
remains?
yeah, okay,
Um, yeah.
okay. As spirits, do we lose our seven senses? Now, in Eric's book, My Life After Death, he talks about how the body changes, the senses, emotions, etc. So that's a good read. But do we still have some of the seven senses?
You do, but they are not like they are on Earth.
Yeah, right.
In some cases, they enhance. He's talking about the sense of intuition. That is something that is broader. It opens up a little
Oh
bit more.
yeah. Yeah, I bet. Of
He
course.
said, in the sense of taste, that is something that is dull. It dies down quite a bit. It's not like it is on Earth. It's a different experience. He says, so you lose some, you win some.
Well, I understand from the book that you can like merge with the energy of the pizza and taste it, or merge with somebody eating a pizza and sort of taste it. It's probably not the same. And of course, touch is not the same. Those hugs are not there. Um, I know that he said you can see 360 as far as sight is concerned. And hearing, I mean, you hear everybody's thoughts, etc. So smell, you can create a signature, energy signature, that has a certain smell and cast it in our way like a horrible stinky feet smell, whatever. But as far as you smelling
He
something,
says he's given an example of how he tastes. So
okay,
when you popcorn, you know how you can smell the popcorn and you can taste it
yeah,
through senses, right? He says, well, the best way to explain this is that smell of popcorn that you're tasting while you're cooking is the way that I'm going to taste it as a spirit. It's different. It's not that tangible. It's more of a sensory smell that I'm receiving versus
okay.
a tangible texture.
All right. If you go to the playlist of the My Life After Death readings on my TikTok channel, Atlanta Scalar, you'll be able to listen to me read all about the senses and emotions and stuff. So and you follow me too. All right. If living as a human is all about lessons and teaching, then why do we strive to be better, do better, and be good people if there are no consequences when we die? Like Tobago's, I think it's Tobago has their motto, it's nice to be nice. But anyway.
He says, well, Mom, it's the moral, it's all about morals. You strive to be a good person because you do have this karmic energy that's based within you.
Mm.
Everybody consciously and subconsciously has an awareness of karma being something that you have to obtain by. You want good things to happen to you, so you do good.
Okay.
Part of it is about the moral, and the other part is the knowing of this karmic energy line that you're connected to. Um, he says, I'm not saying that there's not consequences because there are consequences, but each person is going to have to endure their consequences differently from another person. He
Yeah.
says, now, Mom, some souls don't exactly care about the emotions of another person, even when they're healing in soul life. It doesn't make that soul any less of a different soul from the soul that cares about somebody's emotions.
Okay.
It means that they're processing differently, but they do still have a heart and they do still have goodness connected to them, and they still want good things for other souls and other people,
Okay.
basing it off of each experience.
Interesting. Why do so many people come here to live mundane lives, like get married, school, 9 to 5 jobs, and don't have any like major hardships, etc.? Maybe they just want a breather. Maybe the last one was a bitch. I don't know. You tell me, Eric.
He's laughing at you. He says, well, exactly, Mom, some people don't and experience harsh lessons. We don't have to have those harsh lessons in every experience that we live as a human. We do have an opportunity to experience only positive love, light, good, happiness, joy in our lifetime. He says, and so it's based off of what the individual wants to experience.
Yeah, we have free will on both sides. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, some have zero or little growth. What is their purpose? Is it to teach others what not to be like? Maybe that's true in one life, but maybe they have substantial growth in another, etc. But yeah, so why did the people live certain lives and they really don't have any growth or very little growth?
He says it can either be for themselves or for other people. Um, he's looking at different examples. You have somebody who's working for somebody in this really big company, and the employee is the person that's not really moving forward in the company. But you see the boss that's doing great things. He's going on vacations. He's doing, he's having the best life ever. But the employee here at the bottom is working a lot. They're
Mm.
not having growth. Well, that lesson can be to come in and help the other individual to succeed. And then also to give you the lesson of responsibility and burden. He says it's all based off of what you're doing on your contract to help yourself or to help another individual with their experiences. He
Okay.
says, with that said, though, there's nothing that's set in stone. You can choose to change your reality if you
Yeah.
want. It doesn't have to be an experience that you stay in permanently.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Are there other souls coming in that have never been here before, like the very first incarnation? And if yes, where are they coming from?
Absolutely. He says, well, they come from source, Mom. They come
Yeah.
from the very original birth. They were a very original being. And he says they can come in as animals. Oftentimes, when a soul is freshly born, they come in as an animal, as a tree, just to get the whole vibe of Earth and to
Oh,
take them
wow.
in little by little. It's not often that you have a baby soul
Yeah.
come and have this very harsh or big experience as a human. He says you like to build yourself up before you get there.
Fascinating. Oh, wow. Um, or are we all reincarnated over and over again with a finite amount of souls dying and reincarnating? So that's a no. We have new ones coming in.
Absolutely.
How many of us are there? And how long do we keep coming back? I guess everybody's different, right? I mean,
Every,
what the average number of lives a soul has on Earth, anyway.
he says a soul can have as little as one or as many as millions. It's up to
Mm.
the soul and what they want to experience.
Okay.
He says so is based off of each individual.
Yeah.
Talking about the collective of energy, he's giving me a very simple number of one. He says because we are all a part of one another,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is one. He
Okay.
says, I know it's hard to understand, but Mom, we're one.
Yeah, I believe it. The hard thing is to live life as you can know it conceptually, but it's hard to live life as one. And that's what we ultimately need to do.
Yes.
Can we ask Metatron through prayer to take us to the Akashic records and ask to change some things in our contract? Oh boy, we're not.
He said, yes, you can ask Metatron to take you there, but you could take yourself there.
Oh, okay. And there are ways to learn how to do that. Do
He
you
says,
teach people how to do that, or can you take them to the Akashic records?
yes, he likes to go there.
No, I'm talking about you,
He,
Raylene.
oh, sure. Yeah, anybody can do it. Everybody has the ability to do it.
But you
But
can help people, right? Or teach them.
I can.
You have very lots of talents, and we are going to put her information in not only in the description box, but Paola's going to put a little screen so that you guys can find her. And she does astrology. I mean, she of course channeling, as you see. Well, you do what else? Tell the rest of the class.
So I am absolutely passionate about teaching about spirituality,
Mm.
whether this is teaching about your abilities, teaching you how to do energy healing. I'm very passionate about teaching about spirituality and helping you to grow as a spiritual individual. I'm also very passionate about doing astrology readings and
And
intuitive
they're
person.
awesome. They're awesome. You do.
Thank you.
Mm.
Lots of services available on my website.
Okay.
You use code word Erik, that's with an E, you can receive 50% off of all services. So
Oh my God. Erik?
Erik.
That's how it's spelled. Awesome. Uh, for the Spanish speaking, you don't speak Spanish, do you? Or do you? I can't
I
remember.
don't fluent in Spanish.
Pardon me? You
I
don't.
don't.
Okay. I for some reason I always think of you as Nuañez, which is Spanish study, but it's not that. All right. When we die, are we always reunited with our loved ones? Can we meet our previous selves from other lives when we die? Okay. Do we usually reunite with our loved ones
Always.
for a party? And almost always a party, it seems like.
It is. He says it's a gathering. It's a welcome back.
No
Um,
hangover though, right?
no hangover.
Okay. But
Even if you get ready to go into a new life, there's always a see you later party.
oh, do can we meet our other selves that are that have died, or yeah, or our higher self, or when we die, are we our higher self again?
You are your self again.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you can meet your other self, but it's not like meeting a family member because you're connected to that aspect of your identity. So it's more of a
Fractal,
merge.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a merge.
back to your other lives,
Okay. It's just,
conscious.
it's like that his wagon wheel analogy. You guys have probably heard it before, so I'm not going to repeat it. All right. If we die a violent death or a peaceful one, does it change your spirit world experience? Well, I know Eric, you had a very violent death, and you had to go through the blackness, the healing, and you had a lot of mending that had to be done, and then a lot of therapy with your therapist by the name of Collie, who I've been reading from the book on TikTok as of today. So yeah,
That's exactly.
violent death, peaceful
He
death.
says, yes, he says therapy is a real thing in the afterworld.
Mm.
You have a lot of healing to experience based off of your transition. He says, Mom, the word death has a lot of energy around it. He says, I like to think of this as a transition and a rebirth.
Yeah,
It's,
going home, basically.
yeah. He says, you do, based off of your experience. He says, although I was aware that I was going to transition, I wasn't aware of the precautions that I would have to experience because of my out, the way that I transitioned.
Yeah. It reminds me of like a Civil War soldier, you all bloody, missing a leg, crutches, and coming back home. Some people go back home that way.
PTSD, he says, a great example, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah. So what about a peaceful life? Do you still need therapy? I mean, you get a little life review, but
Not in the sense of needing somebody to help you in the way that I did. He
okay.
says, have a very fast healing. It's it's like somebody who goes to get a flu shot and doesn't have any symptoms. They know they're going to get a flu shot, but they don't have any cough. They
Right.
respond to it well.
Okay.
And then the person that gets a flu shot and they have a lot of symptoms from it, right?
Mm.
He says it's based off of each person and how the experience is dealt and handled.
What about your energy? I mean, was it torn up? I mean, what were there holes in it? I mean, what happened to your energy because of the death that you had, the manner of the death?
Fractulated. Am I
Mm.
saying that right? It's he said
It should be a word if it's not.
right.
Yeah.
Trying what he's saying. I'm trying to translate what he's saying. But he says it was in pieces. I had to bring all of that back together and form myself back into a whole. He says that's what therapy helped me to do. It helped me to bring all of these experiences and bring them back into one, like a puzzle being broken apart and
Yeah.
being able to put pieces of the puzzle back together.
Wow.
For
Hi, Maria.
Bye,
Uh,
Maria.
um, if I am a spirit and want to return to life on Earth, can I choose the era I want to live in? Can I go back in time instead of the year and course awesome question. Our Earth is currently in?
Yes, you can. You can choose where you want to go, when you want to go. Even if he's saying right now we're recording in 2024, but say you want to go back to the very early 1900s,
Mm.
it's still something you can experience
The
because
time is not linear. Yeah.
it's linear and everything is simultaneously going.
Eric, what era would you like to go to your next incarnation?
Any era with good food. He's not particular.
Um, okay. What about you, Raylene? When would you like to go? Not when would you like to go, but what era?
Probably the 1950s.
Wow, those were innocent times, weren't they?
They were.
I agree with you. Cool. When will our planet finish evolving? And then what happens then?
He says it's continuously evolving. There is not a end of the evolution, the evolving that Earth experiences. He says when it gets to a point where its growth is at a maximum, it restarts. And so you'll see, he's talking about particles. You'll see different particles that are born on Earth and a different formation that is presenting
Primordial
says,
soup all over again.
yes,
That's interesting. Now, I don't know if she's talking about the planet evolving or the life on our planet evolving. What do you think she means? She's referring to, Eric, Darlene.
both.
Okay. All right. So how long is it going to be before humans completely evolve? Is that the same answer? Never? They keep going and going?
He says human evolution. He's talking about technology. He says there's different types of evolution when we talk about human. We have the physical body of evolution, and then we have the technology of evolution, being able to transcend to different levels.
Yeah.
He says this is a topic for an entire topic by itself, because we have the different dimensions that we're living here on Earth. We talk about the 3D, the 4D, the 5D, and evolving to each level. Each one has a different level of evolution. That is experienced for each level that you're on. He says, so that is a three-piece answer. He says, because human evolution changes every single day, every decade, every minute. He says it's very wide ranged.
Okay, you want to do that? Maybe at a next session, talk about that? Or we'll see what's on the list. Maybe you want something else, but that'd be cool.
Topic. I'd like to do it.
Okay, last question. Oh yeah. Oh no, but first, when a human is fully evolved, what does that look like? Do they not have a body anymore? They're just living in your dimension, Eric? Or do they suck back up into source or what?
He says every soul looks at evolution differently. He says if a soul wants to fully evolve to a butterfly, that is their way of being fully evolved. If a soul wants to fully evolve to a very advanced human being living in advanced civilizations, knowing how to use energy, he's referring to Tesla,
Oh, yeah.
and amplifying that and accomplishing that type of evolution. He says it's based off of each experience with each soul. He said so there's not a book that says you're fully evolved when you reach this point, because for
Yeah.
one not consider that evolution to what they wanted to experience.
Well, Eric, I know you have seen lots of humans fully evolve. What's the one that surprised you, the instance that surprised you the most? Like, was there one that said, see ya, I'm going, we sucked back into source energy, or I want to be a rock, or what? Any that dropped your jaw that you don't have?
He's referring to Einstein.
Oh, what does his evolution look like? His completion of evolution.
Very large, being in a multitude of places at one time. He he's saying he's a very experienced and large individual, and even when his energy was brought back, it's still multiplied. It's a multitude of different energies. He's saying that his energy was more of something that was combust as he was on Earth, and as he returned, it was still something that was very large, but together.
Wow. Fascinating. Okay. All right, this is less. With reincarnation, as we live, learn, and grow, are our next lives elevated and better than the last, or can we actually come back and live an inferior life? Of course, there's no gradation. If yes, what is the point of that if we keep growing as humans? So when we have our next life, is it always a little elevated, or is it sometimes like, okay, we're going to be a urchin on the street, 6-year-old on the street, starving
You
to death?
step forward, or you can choose to step backward. He
Okay.
says he's using the analogy of a caterpillar. If that caterpillar chooses to stay a caterpillar their entire life, and in the next life they choose to transition into a butterfly, that is going to be based off of their experience. Once you're fully evolved to that butterfly, that's a new level of experience. Some people choose to go back to that the cocoon of the caterpillar and step back even after they've been a caterpillar.
Okay.
Because there is no forward or there is no backwards in the sense of the direction of how you have to live.
Yeah. But still, she says, what is the point of that if we keep growing as humans? Well, you can grow through difficult lives, inferior, and you can grow a lot through elevated life. So yeah, I get that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else you want to say, Eric, about anything we've talked about before we close?
He just says, I love you guys so very much. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for watching my mama. He says, and I will be around to prank you. He's over here with this mischievous look on his face.
Uh-oh. He won't if you don't want it, but he will if you do. So, yeah, be sure you hit the notification bell, subscribe to this channel, but also the Atlantis Scalar channel. And we're going to put Raylene's website here. And it's, well, I guess we could go and say, but I think Paula already knows. So,
yeah, we can just post it. It's very long.
post it. All right, that's fine. Good. All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Love you, Eric. Love you, everybody listening and watching. Love you, Raylene.
Love you lots. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.